The holy man had something inside of him that gave him a peace and a deep joy. Most people are looking outside of themselves for something external that will fulfill them, that will fulfill us. When in fact the foundation of true happiness, we see it in all religions and the teachings of all the greatest and wisest men and women of all times. They tell us that the foundation of true happiness comes from within. All the money and the power in the world can't buy it. Anyone who's wealthy or has spent any time around wealthy people knows that money cannot buy happiness or satisfaction or meaning. Our resources and our gifts and our talents, they give us our potential. But it is our character that will determine our legacy. So what is character? How do we build character? We heard about George Washington. I don't know if that's a real story or not. Probably not, right? But it happened to somebody, I imagine. I think I dropped a vase or something when I was a kid and tried to pretend like, I don't know what happened. I wasn't as big a man as George Washington as a kid. But character is described, or has been described, as the will to do the right thing even when it's hard. It's about doing the right thing regardless of the cost. Sometimes doing the right thing can cost the person their job, their reputation, their friends. Think of all the people, I always think of the people in the civil rights era when I see the pictures and I see the film reels of the people standing in picket lines and sitting in cafeterias and to end segregation, knowing that those people could lose their jobs. Some of you were there. Lose their incomes, maybe lose their friends or their reputations, and in some cases, even their lives. But they did it anyway because it was the right thing to do. That is character. Many of us think of Bishop Carlton Pearson, who one day realized that he could no longer preach a message that had been taught to him from the time he was born, that claimed that Jews and Muslims and Hindus and gays and lesbians and Unitarians we're all going to burn in hell. Now, Bishop Pearson had a very large church. He had a television show and a national reputation. You can go on the internet and find pictures of him with each of the last 3 presidents, each of whom sought him out for his endorsement and blessing. But when Bishop Pearson came to the conclusion that God's love is all-encompassing, he could no longer preach what he came to see as a fear-filled and judgmental gospel. As he studied the Bible more closely, he realized that Jesus didn't preach such a gospel either. He came to know that what such a message does to the psyche and the spirit of the people who hear it is too big and too damaging. Such a message makes some people judgmental of others, harshly judge others, and it makes some people even hate themselves. And he wasn't going to preach it anymore. It even turns a lot of people away from God and religion altogether. People who don't want to have such a judgmental faith or community that they support and abide and try to live by the rules of. People who say, I will not worship a wrathful, vindictive, and jealous God, because I don't want to become a wrathful, vindictive, and jealous person. Bishop Pearson started to preach and teach that all are beloved All are God's creation. All are beautiful and worthy and blessed. But he soon learned that preaching such a loving message would be countered with judgment and condemnation. He soon learned that it would cost him his reputation, his church building, his television show, his positions of power in the community, and many of his friends. And in order to do the right thing, the stakes were very, very high. And the cost in pain and losses have been huge. Doing the right thing when the cost is high, that's the sign of character. Do you ever wonder if you would do the right thing if faced with such a test? Unlike exams at school, we can't cram for a test in character. Character is something that has to be developed and sustained over a lifetime. So if character is about doing the right thing, even when it's hard or costly, then how do we become a person of character? It begins with having core principles. We have to know what our core, non-negotiable principles are that guide our life. What are the principles that we will not violate under any circumstances? And we need to know these in advance. Right? It's kind of like when a teenager decides that I'm not going to have sex until I'm married. He or she needs to make a non-negotiable commitment before. They can't wait until they're in the middle of a moment of passion to decide, hold on, wait, let me think, let me decide. I've been kind of on the fence about this for a while. In the same way, we can't wait until temptation arises to decide what we're going to do, because usually the quickest way to where we are, from where we are to where we want to go, is not the ethical way. The quickest way to success and promotion and happiness is usually not the principled way. At some point in our lives, we are faced with a dilemma of betraying our principles in order to get something we want. And when these moments and these opportunities arise, and they do, our minds fill with endless rationalizations to support us in going against our principles to get what we want. I'll just do it this one time, we say. No one will find out. Oh, everyone does it. It's the way the world works. Or, I didn't get the breaks that others have, so I need to break the rules a little bit if I'm going to get ahead. Character's about doing the right thing even when it's hard or costly. Character's about knowing that the quickest way to where we want to go is often not the ethical way. It's like in baseball. I was watching baseball. To get from first base to third base, the quickest way is to just run straight across the pitcher's mound. It doesn't really get you where you want to go. But being willing to slow down, character's about being willing to slow down, even when we can see what we want in our reach. Seeking our goal without sacrificing our soul. Even if it takes us longer and requires hardship, pain, sorrow, disappointment, boredom to get there. Those moments will either define you or defeat you.